Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking by Zoe. This tutorial is on how to make passion fruit macarons. This is my favorite macaron flavor, and I hope that you'll enjoy this recipe as much as I do. For this recipe, the passion fruit flavoring will all be based in the filling of this macaron cookie. The macaron cookie shell will be unflavored, but if you would like to add flavoring, you definitely can. This delicious filling is a white chocolate passion fruit ganache with passion fruit curd. The passion fruit curd adds a little tartness to this cookie and brings out the flavoring of this cookie as well. I do have a separate video and tutorial that I posted on how to make the curd, so please do watch that. Okay, so let's get started. Here I have listed all the ingredients that you would need in weight measurements. This is the type of almond flour and the type of confectioner sugar that I'll be using. I do recommend weight measurements, weighing these in grams, and then make sure that you do sift your ingredients at least twice unless you run it through a food processor. As mentioned in many of my videos, please check out my strawberry macaron tutorial if you would like more detailed instructions on how to make the cookie shells. Now let's make the meringue. I'm using a stand mixer under speed number 4. Add in your egg whites and you're going to whisk these until they are foamy. When they are foamy, you're going to add a pinch of cream of tartar. What cream of tartar do is stabilize your meringue. When you start to see these tracks leaving from the whisk, you're going to add in the granulated sugar into 3 separate portions just by eyeballing this. After you have added in all the granulated sugar, you're going to change the speed up to number 6 and you're going to whisk this until a soft peak forms. When the soft peak is formed, you're going to add in your food coloring of choice. These are the type of food coloring that I'll be using, orange and lemon yellow. I'm going to add in 1 drop of orange and then 2 of the yellow to try and make an egg yellow color. These food coloring I bought from Hobby Lobby. Turn your speed back onto number 6 and you're going to whisk this until a stiff peak is formed. When a stiff peak is formed, you'll notice that if you turn off your stand mixer, you'll notice that the meringue is stuck to the whisk like this. And if you were to pick up some of this meringue, you'll see the stiff peak from the peak of the meringue. This is how it should look like. I also made a separate batch in which I'm going to try and achieve a dark fuchsia color. I'm going to use 1 drop of the violet and then 3 drops of the fuchsia. Again, these food coloring gel are from Hobby Lobby. I do recommend using coloring gel or powder food coloring. Avoid using liquid food coloring as you will or could alter the meringue consistency, and then your cookie shell may not turn out. After your meringue has reached a stiff peak, you're going to add in your dry ingredients, which is the almond flour and the confectioner sugar, and you're going to fold in these together. You're going to add in just half, not all at once, and you're going to mix until the ingredients are all wet, and then you're going to add in the rest of the dry ingredients and repeat the process until everything is wet. When I say wet, I just mean that all the dry ingredients will no longer be dry and they'll be wet or incorporated slightly with the wet ingredients. When all of the dry ingredients are wet, we're going to start the next process, which is the Macaronage process. For this process, I like to use a sturdy spatula by pressing the batter against the side of the bowl and then scraping the side of the bowl and also under the batter and making sure to check the consistency of the batter between each time that I'm doing this. This is the consistency of the batter that you'll want to achieve, a ribbon-like consistency. Once you have achieved this, stop and do not mix any further. Here are the two type of piping tip that I will be using today to pipe out my macaron cookie shells. This is the Sultan piping tip and then the Wilton 2A. This is how I'm piping my macaron cookie shells today. Once you're done piping, make sure to bang your tray a few times to release the air bubbles. If you would like, you can use a toothpick or a bamboo skewer to remove this air bubble by blending in the batter. To review on how to pipe, hold your piping bag 90 degrees and then squeeze out the desired amount and then do a little swirl or something similar to this. Don't worry about the little nipple that is sticking up. The batter will eventually fall back into place once you bang the tray. Here I'm piping out my macaron cookie shell using the Sultan tip, and then I'm going to come back in with the 2A piping tip and I'm going to fill in the hole. After piping and banging your tray, let the cookie sit out for at least 20 to 30 minutes until it develops the shell. If you touch your finger onto the top of the shell and your finger does not have any sticking batter, then it is ready to be baked. Bake your cookies at 310 degrees Fahrenheit for 13 to 16 minutes. I baked mine for 14 minutes, but that's all dependent on your oven, so your may require a longer cooking time and may require adjustment in the temperature, at least higher or lower. I am using a conventional oven, if you are wondering. Here are my macarons that have come out of the oven. I still have one tray that is baking, but here is how they look like. Make sure to let your macaron cookie shells cool completely before removing them from the baking mat or parchment paper. This is a list of ingredients I use to make the passion fruit curd. I will not be going over on how to make this. I do have another tutorial, so please do check that out if you would like to make this passion fruit curd. I highly recommend this curd. It's very delicious and I don't think that you'll regret making it. To make the passion fruit ganache, these are the ingredients that you'll need. 300 grams of white chocolate chips, 70 grams of heavy whipping cream, 30 grams of fresh passion fruit juice, and 1/4 teaspoon of powdered passion fruit flavoring. Measure all of the wet ingredients together and include the powdered passion fruit flavoring into the wet ingredients. I'm going to be using the double boiler method, in which you need to heat a medium pot and bring it to a boil, and then you're going to place a heavy duty glass bowl or a stainless steel bowl on top. You're going to next add in all of the wet ingredient, which is the heavy whipping cream, the passion fruit juice, and the powdered passion fruit flavoring that was added or mixed together earlier. When you start to see little bubbles, you're going to turn the heat down to medium-low and then pour in all of your white chocolate, and you're going to continue mixing this until most of the white chocolate are melted. Just to mention, the passion fruit flavoring powder is optional. You don't have to add this if you don't have it, and it's really not needed if you're going to be making a curd, because a curd will bring out the flavoring of your filling. If you don't add the powder flavoring, then your taste of your ganache will just have a hint of passion fruit. Most of the white chocolate has been melted. You're going to remove this bowl from the heat and then continue mixing it until all of the white chocolate has been dissolved. Transfer this into a smaller bowl and then place this into the refrigerator to cool for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator and also to thicken. After 30 minutes in the refrigerator, your ganache should have thickened. Use a whisk and whisk this together to make it more fluffy. This part is not required, but it is optional and I do recommend. Place your ganache into a piping bag with piping tip of your choice. I'm using this medium star, which is 4B. If you're making your curd, also place that into a piping bag with piping tip of your choice. This is how I'm piping my macaron filling. I am doing a ring of the ganache, and in the center of that, I'll be adding in the passion fruit curd. If you're not going to be making the passion fruit curd, then just squeeze another amount of this ganache into the center of this filling. For the Sultan Pipe Al Macaron cookie shell, you'll notice that there's these little holes in the center. If you want to avoid that, when you pipe out your batter, just use a toothpick and give it a little swirl in the center. Here is the end result of my passion fruit macarons. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already.